It looks like you're trying too hard. Especially with women like you. Hey boo, what is up? So in today's video, I'm so excited because I am bringing you another video in the Dark Circles series. And yes, girl, it's a whole series because dark circles, the topic of dark circles, is under a really big umbrella, right? It has different subcategories. I've already made a video about what I feel are some of the best concealers to help cover dark circles, and not just dark circles, but darkness period, any type of hyperpigmentation on the face. So if you haven't checked that video out, be sure to check it out. In this video though, we're gonna go over how to actually cover the dark circles, like application and technique. But like I said, it's a lot of different like subcategories regarding the dark circles, not just the concealers and not just how to cover them, like because people have questions about like the correct order. They have questions about, do you have to use a color corrector? They have questions about how to actually use a color corrector. Like, dark circles is a pain point for women of all ages. Like, if I had $1 for every time someone said, Kiki, but what about these dark circles though? But what can we do about these dark circles? Like, I would be a rich woman. It's probably the #1 question that I get in regard to skincare. But like I said, it's so many different topics underneath the dark circle category, about products, about technique, about lifestyle, about skincare. Lifestyle, are you getting enough sleep? How much alcohol are you consuming? Are you drinking enough water? How much fruits and vegetables are you getting in? What is your sodium intake? Are you icing the face? Are you massaging the face? So like, girl, it's just so much. But in today's video, let's just stick with application. Like I said, we'll just have to just keep talking about all of the other things in future videos. What I can say though, because you know I'm a licensed esthetician, and you know we're gonna do skincare. You know we're gonna start with skincare. Going in with my Avo Cosmetics Botanical Toner. And of course, I'm gonna prep the skin with my Bobbi Brown eye base and face base. So that's definitely the #1 tip, is to prep the skin, get the skincare. Do not skip on the skincare, boo. This feels amazing. Now I'm going to put on my primer for my base, the Milk Hydro Grip. I'm going to put this on generously and I'm going to really massage it in. I'm going to also like set the primer with this. As far as with the order, as you can see, I prefer to lay down the base first, but like it really doesn't matter. If you want to go in with concealer and then put down your base, you can. I do that a lot. As far as color correctors, you don't have to use one. If you use one, use a very light sheer layer of one. It's really not necessary. That is the job of a concealer, is to conceal. So a color corrector, it just helps you to not have to use so much concealer. As far as concealers, you don't want one that's way too light because it can start to look artificial. It can give you flashback, and it can kind of get out of control if you are not 100% like a pro professional and know what you're doing. It could be some murky waters. So I would say go 1 to 2 shades lighter for your concealer if you want like that highlighted look. I personally feel like you should do the highlighted look because skin is multi-dimensional. It's not flat. It's not all one shade. So when you're trying to cover up your dark circles, go a shade or 2 lighter than your actual complexion, so that when you do like put on the foundation and stuff like that, you don't look flat. Now if you're not worried about putting on foundation and you just want to do a little something, like your dark circles is not that bad and you don't have to totally necessarily like look airbrushed and completely painted and completely erased, you don't mind a little bit of skin peeking through, you want to still look natural and normal and everything like that, you can go in with the YSL Touche. Okay, this is so skin-like. It's like maybe she's born with it, maybe it's Maybelline. Like, it's like it gives that you woke up like this. It only slightly corrects, it slightly brightens, it's very faint, it's very mild, it just fades the dark spot into the skin just a little bit. It doesn't erase anything, it just makes it look a little bit softer. So this is a great concealer. It's technically a brightening pen, but it's a great concealer for anyone who just don't want like a very heavy look. If you're actually using an actual concealer, like I said, you don't want anything too light, you don't want anything too thick, because underneath the eye the skin is a little bit different, and especially if you're older it can start to look crepey. You want to use something that is lightweight, that is like hydrating, and you don't want to use too much of the product, right? You want to use a product where you can use just a little bit and it gets the job done. So for today's concealer is the Natasha Denona. This is in shade NY12, and I chose this one because it definitely checks all the boxes. It has like a color corrector in it, so you really don't have to use like a color corrector. The coverage is immaculate, it's creamy, it's blendable, it just checks all the boxes. It's a beautiful concealer. Like this the one I'm gonna pull out when I'm really trying to be her. And the last tip before we start, I would say to avoid too dark of eye makeup. You want to brighten up the eye area. Keep it light, keep it fresh, because you're lightening this area up. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and start with the face, the complexion, the brows, and then I'm gonna get back to you when it's time to do the concealer. Okay, now that my base is on, I'm going to move on to putting my concealer under my eyes and just letting it sit. Now, this is a very important part of the technique, is to just let the concealer sit. When you let it sit, it gets tackier, it gets thicker, you'll receive fuller coverage from it, and it just performs better. Now, you do have to be careful with the concealer that you do that with. Not all concealers will allow you to still blend it out after it stiffens up, but the Natasha Denona, this formula is top tier. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and put this underneath my eye and just let it sit there while I'm doing other stuff on my face. Okay, so we have let that concealer sit for a long time. All right, now I'm gonna take this brush. I feel like this is just the best concealer brush. It gets right all up in here, it pats it out beautifully, it spreads it beautifully, it picks up just the right amount. I got this brush off Amazon, it will be linked below, and I'm just going to start tapping the concealer in. So when you're covering something, whether it's a portion on the face or the dark circle, you want to tap the product in. You don't want to like rub or smear. You want to just keep it right in place by tapping. So I'm going to just take my time just to blend it out a little bit, do both sides, and I'm going to work back and forth so that this side isn't continuing to like sit. And I'm going to go back and forth between this, my damp beauty sponge, and this Real Techniques brush right here, and I'm going to use this just to kind of like soften the edges and blend out the edges. And we're not done with the concealer either, we're going to like layer it up. Now I'm going to go in with my sponge, then go in the inner corner, and I'm pressing this in like that. And then now we can go underneath the eye and just make sure this is really pressed in. You want to just really melt it into the skin. Okay, and now I'm going to go in and I'm going to brighten up a little bit just on the inner corner so we get that gradient effect. It's right here. And while this is sitting, I'm going to be doing my cream blush. Again, taking a brush, starting with just pressing it in and blending it. Now I'm gonna go ahead and sandwich this, lock this in. Check one more time that it's not creased, which it shouldn't be because we set it. Very light pressure. I'm not moving anything. I don't want it to move. I just want to press it in. I'm going to stretch the skin as much as possible and press the powder in. Now I'm going to take some Huda and I'm going to use this powder just on like my inner corner. You know, toward the inner corner, we want that brighter than all of the rest. Patting and stamping, just packing this powder on. It's watering, so that's what it's just going to do. This eye is weird. So the face is set. Now all we have to do is melt the powder in and then actually lock the powder in. So to melt the powder in, I'm going to take this Morphe Continuous Setting Spray. You can also use the MAC Fix Plus. This is an OG. And another really beautiful, pretty one that's really natural and also skin loving is the D'Alba. For the setting, we're going to use the Charlotte Tilbury. You know that I just love layering with this, locking it in. It's a holy grail. All right, now I'm going to use the Charlotte Tilbury to lock it all in. Okay, now to finish the look with my lip in Chic. I'm going to take my Chanel Powder Puff and just take down a little bit of the shine. Just up in the center of the face. Okay, my dear, this is the final look as to how to go about covering up the dark circles. You don't have to get caught up in like the order of makeup or anything like that. You could put concealer first or you could put foundation first. It all depends. It's all about technique. When you are trying to cover something, you want to pat and pack on the color. You need your tools, of course, your powder puff, your sponges, your brushes. All of that stuff will be linked below. I get a lot of my stuff on Amazon. You don't necessarily have to use a color corrector. Using one just means that you're going to be using less concealer, but that's concealer's job to conceal. The type of concealer you want to use has to be one that's blendable, movable, creamy. You don't want anything too thick and too heavy up underneath the eye for several reasons, but mainly, yeah, you don't want a crepey, crunchy, crackly, heavy, thick looking under eye. It just starts to look unnatural and it just doesn't look good. It looks like you're trying too hard. As far as addressing lines and what setting powders and what setting sprays, skincare, and the different things that goes into dark circles as well, just subscribe to this channel so you don't miss any of the videos. We're going to be talking about all of that, but I can't possibly talk about it all in one video. We've got the concealer video out, and now we've got how to use the concealer in order to properly cover the dark circle. Well, it looks good, it looks natural, it's absolutely covered, nothing's peeking through. It's not about using a lot, it's not about using a thick concealer, because I know that's what a lot of people think, like, oh, in order to cover this, I'm gonna need something thick, I'm gonna need something heavy, I'm gonna need a lot. Nope, it's all about technique. Also, before you go, be sure to join my free VIP beauty community. You'll learn some valuable stuff there too. I share with you everything I know, as a beauty lover, licensed esthetician, makeup artist, baby, for over 30 years. I don't gatekeep. Pretty girls don't gatekeep, okay? In the meantime, click like, click share, click subscribe, duh, and I'll be sure to see you on the next one. I've been losing friends and finding peace. Honestly, that sound like